Yo, 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 what is up? What is up? What is up? Third intermission. We are back. We are on the air. It's Avery here in the host chair this week. And I got Jason, Marsha, and Troy joining me for another week of blackness and hockey and all things that combine the two. Marsha, how you doing this evening? How are things?
It's going well. Love to have another night talking hockey. It's above 0 degrees here in our lovely city of Toronto. So there are no complaints from me today, even though last week I said I'd complain about everything.
There you go. There you go. Yo, it's warming up in Edmonton as well too, but yo, it's like walking through soup right now with the
Yeah.
melting. That I hate
Oh my
that.
gosh. That's the gross part. It's annoying because you're like, okay, make up your mind whether. And then the
Right?
outdoors is like, what shoes do I wear? Come on.
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. Jason, what's going on, sir? How you doing tonight?
Yo, I'm good, man. Yo, thanks for asking. I'm just here drinking some water, ready for another great, time here with you guys, talking about some hockey. You know what I'm saying? Hope everybody's doing well on the outside.
Of course, of course. And then we send things down to last but not least, Mr. Troy. Troy, what's going on tonight, sir? How you doing?
I feel used and abused. Like
Uh-oh.
I,
What happened?
I had a bye week. I had a bye week in hockey this week, and it felt like I still played.
Yo,
Yo, Troy.
Yeah, like I am in so much pain right now. My shoulders are killing me. It felt like I was in a car crash, but I wasn't. I don't know what the hell happened. I am in so much pain, and then I spent the weekend at work, so that means I'm slinging 35-pound cases of beer.
Jesus.
Sometimes these cases of wine. They say like the max that you're lifting is 40 pounds, but sometimes
That's a
this
lot.
should be heavy. Yeah, I don't know where they're going for. Like when you see the size of these things, this thing is heavier than like a big newborn baby. Like one of those big 13-pound babies. That shit is heavier than that.
you,
But
you
other
know,
than that, I am good. I
you know
tried to
we're
watch as possible this week.
you know what we're gonna need to do? We're gonna need to send you to Germany to Austin Matthews' doctor and get you right, Troy.
This is true. Oh, last week, we never got a chance to discuss the goal from that got scored from the week prior when it went off the glass, it hit the goal and bounced into the net.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, yeah, we're playing and we're just getting bamboozled because we have a short bench. Whenever we got to play on the big ice at the Mastercard Center, like nobody shows up.
Mhm.
But again, because it's American Thanksgiving, the same five guys every year take the Thursday off so they can go get drunk and watch football all day. And then they purposely don't come to the hockey. So we're short people and we're already getting destroyed at this point. So I have the puck, I dump it in, it goes around the boards, it comes out to one of my other guys. He shoots it on net, he misses. It goes over top of the net, hits the glass, bounces off the crossbar. The goalie's trying to glove it down, and he knocks it into his own net. It's
Wow.
one of those things where it's like you couldn't do it again if you tried.
You gotta cherish those.
Oh, it was great. I mean, we had played as hard as we could for 8 players and a goalie, but at some point our legs just gave out, and we're just like, we'll take whatever we can get.
Oh, but yo, I applaud y'all. Playing eight players for a whole game, that's crazy. That
Yeah,
is hard. That's tough.
insane, bro. Like that's the true definition of a short bench. That
So
bench was short.
our pairs are 10, 10, 12. And I would say because out of 32 minutes last Thursday, I want to say I played at least half of that. And the referees weren't calling any penalties, so you could unless you like drove a guy head first into the boards. He's just like, no, we want to get this game over with, so that way the short bench can go home and get some rest.
Oh man, so that
Like,
game must have been brutal, bro. You guys must have been getting hacked and all kinds of nonsense.
bro, like we're gassed halfway through the first.
Yeah, I believe
Because
that.
like the legs that showed up were the game changing legs. So it was like it was literally like your average Joes. I don't want to say like the no skill guys, but like these are like the guys who set up were basically like third line guys, like third and fourth line guys. And we
Yeah.
had like one solid defenseman. So like at one point I had to switch and play D. So like I did what I could to try to, you know, stop the bleeding, but couldn't do much when you don't have legs on big ice.
And this man played half the game. We might need somebody to Photoshop Troy into Iron Man's outfit. Iron Man Troy.
Yeah, for real. The man saved his team. The man is a forward. He's playing defense. He's
Truly.
probably played. You played every position that game, didn't you?
Everything but goalie.
Hey, if you blocked a shot, you might as well have played goalie, bro.
See, now you're putting it out there, Jason.
What were you gonna say, Avery?
I was gonna say you're putting it out there, Jason, for the idea of one day. Oh, we need a goalie, and Troy's in net now.
Imagine. Yeah, okay, I'll just strap on the pads at the end of the period. Don't worry, guys. I got us.
Yeah.
I haven't played that in so long, and I'm hoping and praying it doesn't come to that. Because that's one of my fears is like, my goalie going down, and it's like, oh, damn it, I got to put on a shit.
Oh my goodness, that would be something else. So rosters that aren't hurting the transition from that are the Four Nations face-off rosters. As we have all four now, we have all four rosters unveiled for Canada, USA, Sweden, and Finland. And our predictions from last week, some were right, some we didn't get, but some of the major names on there, of course, some were already named. Names like, of course, Connor McDavid's here. You got Jordan Binnington in net for Canada. And there's some names that were omitted. Some names that didn't make it that we had discussed and people discussed for a long time. Names like Evan Bouchard not playing for Team Canada. Cole Caulfield not on the Americans. And there are some names that were left off that caused a ton of controversy, debate, and names of Sweden has a pretty good roster. Finland's got solid rosters as well too. So I'll ask the group, what names that are on the final rosters for all four teams? What names surprised you the most that made and didn't make the roster? I'll start with you, Marsha, on that.
That is a really good question. In terms of people that I didn't think I would see, Brendan Hagel isn't really a name that screams to me when I think about this, but I'm like, sure, let's give the humans opportunity. But I think the second most one that I just completely overlooked because I forgot this man was Canadian was Aiden Hill.
Yeah, that was a big one.
That was a big one. That was like,
That was a
whoa,
huge.
he's pretty solid. I just completely blanked on the fact that he was Canadian.
Yeah, that's right. Aiden Hill was on. Yeah, Aiden Hill is on the roster as one of the Canada's goaltenders. How about you, Troy? What name surprised you for omission and a name that made it on any one of these rosters?
So in terms of who made it, absolutely Yanni Hakanpää.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a great call, Troy.
This guy went straight for him.
Like five of their defensemen for that team has played 5 games or less, right? So it's like, what are you what are you thinking at that point? Like, especially that dude. Like, no knock against him. I'm sure he's a tremendous defender, but I mean, like a 2-game sample just isn't enough to warrant a roster spot. In terms of who was left off, Anthony Stolarz, for sure. I think his play is definitely warranted a spot. I mean, nothing, not to take away from Hellebuck, Unger, and Swayman, but I think Stolarz is having a better year than Swayman.
Interesting perspective. Hey, go ahead, Troy.
I think they went with Swayman because they want to try to justify that large ass contract he signed.
That's fair.
Agree with that though, because they have to look for a way to justify it. You know what I'm saying? Like these goal. Well, yeah, I'll just save that part for later. But yeah, no, you're right there,
Hmm.
Troy. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That is very fair. And Jason, how about you? What names were you surprised that made it and who didn't make it on these rosters?
Uh, well, John Tavares not making it and Morgan Riley not even having a look, was weird. Nick Suzuki, I thought like he's not a top like point getter in the NHL, but he's a good player like for these type of tournaments. So I was surprised they didn't look at him either. I was surprised to see Sam Bennett make it. He's known to
Hmm.
like be a dirty, greasy type guy. Not really like he's not really responsible, defensively. And I don't think I've seen like Sam Bennett in an international like tournament. So I don't know like how he'll fare with his style, like because the international style is kind of different than like the playoffs in the NHL. I find on an international level, it's more intense. You know what I mean? Because there's more to play for. Like the cup is the ultimate goal, yes, but I mean when you're defending your country, you want to try and like win the tournament, right? I don't think he has that experience there. For US, I'll say a guy like Tage Thompson, he should have been there. I think like by far. I don't know why they went older. Right, Zach Austin Reese, like they're going with old guys. Kreider, and nah, man, that's crazy. They should have put out some young like guns. Tage Thompson, Keller, um, even Connor Bedard for Canada is another weird one. Hockenpah for sure. Like I don't know how the hell he made it, Troy. Like you know what I mean. Like you're looking at this guy. He only played 2 games this season. He just had a procedure done to what go there and be like what a seventh defenseman. Like there's no way he's playing in the top four. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just like a lot of weird, like even Chris Tanev not making it. I think he's like one of the best defensemen in the NHL this season, like analytically as far as like blocking shots, like 5v5 numbers and things of that nature. Like you would think in a way I'm glad because he's not playing in that tournament and he's already like the way he plays, he gets injured a lot. So you kind of want that guy to like kind of conserve himself, but he should have been there because if you look at our back end, bro, we don't have like a Drew Doughty type. The closest thing we have to Drew Doughty is the guy from St. Louis, the big boy from Alberta, Avery. What's his name?
Oh,
Colton. Yeah.
Pomparenko.
Parenko, yeah, like you know what I'm saying? Like that's the closest thing to Doughty. Tanev would have like fit that role properly, in my opinion. So I guess they're just trying to tweak it to like kind of see like or get an idea or gauge it like for the Olympics. But yeah, I don't really like what America did. Like they have a lot of young talent and they're taking older guys and these international tournaments are fast, they're hard. It's not slow and methodical, you know what I mean? So like these older guys are going to have a hard time like keeping up, like you know what I'm saying? Like Kreider and these guys, I can't even remember when Kreider was in an international tournament, Avery, to tell you the honest truth. So like I just feel that was a mistake by the Americans not giving the kids a chance. Like you had a chance to have a line with like Matthews, Caulfield, and maybe Tage Thompson or something like that. You know what I mean? And now we can't get that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. You guys had some great suggestions, and a name. We talked about omissions, the guys who made it. One omission, yeah, I think we were like minded in terms of omission, Jason. Because yeah, Clayton Keller. Clayton Keller is someone who I've watched a long time, followed, going back to his days at Arizona, and now in Utah, still getting a look for a national team with Utah, with the U.S. That was a surprising one for me for an omission. And when it comes to guys who made it, who I was a little bit surprised by, Victor Arvidsson making Sweden. That was a surprising one in my mind because Arvidsson hasn't had the best start to a season with Edmonton. He's been banged up. So seeing him make Sweden was like, oh, okay. I didn't think he would make it. Me, and I wasn't surprised at all to see Mattias Ekholm on Sweden, but Victor Arvidsson, that was a surprising one to me in my mind when it came to guys who did make one of these rosters. And we talk about the youth, we talk about youth and speed. and still too much when it comes, gang, to roster construction. And we kind of touched on it briefly here. They're building rosters to play on a random Tuesday night against the Dallas Stars. That is not what this tournament's about. This should be all about speed and fun and experimenting. And again, you're seeing the management groups for all four teams being very safe, very generic, very expected. Like Connor Bedard should be here on Team Canada. We're focused too much on third line and checking, and it's a week-long tournament. Let's have some fun here. Holy cow!
100%. Could not have said that better myself. And you know, like, even thinking about this whole thing and seeing all of the rosters being released, like, I started conspiracy theorying a little bit, so bear with me. So you have like the big superstars, like the people that will bring the general public in to watch the tournament, right? I think you left off John Tavares because you're like, I don't want it to seem like a repeat of All-Star here, where it was like basically just Tampa players and Leafs players. So I'm like, okay, that's theory one. But theory two, and the reason why I think it's all these like third line type older guys is this is teams trying to make people seem appealing for trade bait.
Interesting. That's actually a very interesting theory.
Yeah, I was saying that in my brain, but I was on mute because I didn't want to cut anybody off. But yeah, Marshall, yeah, I like where you're going. Yeah, I like it. I like it.
You never know. You never know. Because that guy that only played 2 games, this is their chance to show that he can play a couple more than that. Maybe he might be what your team. I don't know. But it's something to think about.
No, Marsha, you're actually I think there's credence to that. And you look at this the tournament where you're not playing an international. I mean, yes, it's international teams, quote unquote, but you're playing in an NHL sanctioned tournament on their NHL sanctioned rules. So I could definitely see you saying that because a GM could possibly say it as, hey, yeah, they were in an international tournament, but they're playing in a tournament that was governed by the NHL style.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's certainly interesting thing. But if I'm just thinking to myself, like, if I'm league brass, we want people to watch. We want people to be interested. Of course, you're gonna get an audience. People want to see Canada, USA, Sweden, Finland. People are gonna want to watch this over the break. But when you want to take your league to the next level, you shouldn't just present this simply as for an international team. You gotta do something a little bit more. Like you need to add a little bit of flair and something a little bit different. And the NHL, I don't think is doing enough to make it seem like something that's replacing the All-Star game for this year. It seems it's different, yes, but it still seems to an extent muted, if that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah, it's like chicken without seasoning, bro. That's what this tournament is. Like chicken without seasoning. It's like they just want you to eat the dry chicken. That's what this is. Not even no lime and no vinegar then put on the chicken. I'll just some some dry chicken. Them want you for yam. Eh? Yeah, no, for real. This is our dry chicken tournament, man. Chicken that don't even have no salt and pepper. Just put in the pot and bake.
Where's the lie? Where's the lie?
No, it's true. Because at least like me, like number one NBA in season tournament hater, because what's the point? But at least they have some seasoning. You have the nice little floors, even though some of them are blinding. You have the cool different jerseys. You have the get ups. Like people get hyped for it because it's something different. They switched up a little bit. But this is like copy paste and it's the same boring blend. Like, okay, they're playing with people that they don't normally play with, but like, what else?
Yeah.
And that's because they don't know how to market anything. I mean, like, outside of Crosby and McKinnon, and maybe Massard, like, the only people you ever see in Tim Hortons commercials, would you really know who's who unless you're a diehard hockey fan? Would you know who's who without having to Google their face on the team roster picture?
That's a great point.
And like with this tournament, I mean, like exactly like Marcia said, what's the point? I mean, like the NBA in-season tournament, like I didn't get it either. I'm still not entirely a fan of it, but it's like if this has no bearing on your playoffs, what's the point? I mean, like this is just a glorified All-Star game. That's
Yeah,
really all it is. I
Mhm.
mean,
that with different countries. Yeah.
Yeah.
what's the objective for trying hard? I mean, like you're obviously not going to play as hard because, like, one, you're not trying to hurt yourself for a potential deep playoff run, right? So I mean, like, you're probably going to get a very subpar looking tournament, and
Yeah.
I wonder with like the B squads, like teams you could make from guys who are left off, if you know, I would say I wonder if they could beat the guys that did make it. So
Hmm.
then like if the tournament starts to go bad for some teams, it's gonna make them second guess. It's like, oh, I fucked up. I should have picked this guy instead of that guy. But like we all said, if there's no point to this, like what's the incentive to play hard? And like I said
Yeah.
too, like the marketing absolutely sucks. It does. It's terrible. Because I mean, like I other than the articles that pop up, you would know that there's a Four Nations Cup coming. They're
No.
doing they're doing Road to the Heritage Cup. I only know that's happening because I'm flipping through my PVR and I see it.
Yeah.
There's no marketing
Oh
anywhere.
yeah, the Winter Classic. Yeah, it's true. Like, there's no the NHL doesn't know. I mean, and the thing is, too, the NHL. It's not hard to. It's not hard to create hype for this tournament. The league just doesn't do it in the way the consumer wants it because and the people who do it just are very out of touch. Like the Amazon. Like, it's funny. A lot more of marketing should be turned over to Amazon. It's clear Amazon understands how to market the NHL properly. They've done it right with their series. They've done it right with Face Off, and they've done it right with with Monday Night Hockey. Like watching the presentation,
Mhm.
they get how to market, how to present, how to showcase hockey. I think if Amazon should be far more on board when it comes to marketing than other sports.
100%. Like I like how many more times is it? Again, like they're doing something different. They're really doing the research of what do these people want to see when they flip onto a game of hockey? What do they want to hear? Do they want to hear the crowd? Do they want to hear different opinions from people who are new and fresh and can have good conversations with the people around them without wanting to talk over them? It's it's like how do you flub on such a large opportunity when like there's so many people in this world of sports that could elevate it like times a million. Get you a Gen Z social person. Done. Everyone's in. Like, what's the player incentive? No one knows because this is nothing that's done before. Whereas, like, for the All Star game, if you win the All Star game, you get a chunk of change in your bank account. Not that you need any more because you're already millionaires, but
Right?
you know, it's like there's so many question marks that it doesn't seem like it's a fun thing to want to buy into. Like, what are we doing beforehand to show people the personalities that they have? Like, how is each player repping their country? Like, what's the cool, like, different jersey designs? Like, what's the fun aspect? Because right now it's just mid hockey.
Yeah. No, it is just mid hockey, and one thing I think that this tournament could have done. You talk about doing things that can showcase this tournament, diving into countries, player heritage. Like one thing that I feel like this tournament should have done is we are approaching almost 30 years since the first World Cup of hockey. I would have loved to have seen a docu series going back and reflecting on what that was like because I was a bit young for that, but showcasing that or even the 04-05 tournament, which Canada won literally the day before the day before the 04-05 lockout. that wiped out the whole season. I would love to see a docu series on that before the Four Nations, documenting how they pulled that tournament off with so much labor uncertainty back in '04.
Mm, exactly. It's these cool little insights, these questions that people never thought to ask, never thought they would want to hear more about, are the things that will pull people in. But it's like when you're a league that's so stuck on doing things the same way every single time, like to the point where it's becoming predictable. What like what do you say to the people that you're trying to draw in?
Mm, Yeah, no, you are not. You're not. You're struggling again to get new fans because like this tournament. Again, you're gonna get people watching, yeah, but how many people are you going to retain after this tournament is done? And if I know it's a test run again before you get the Olympic Games in 2026, but if the NHL wants to also maintain their own tournament on the calendar, then the NHL's gotta have to figure out and say, okay, we have Olympic Games and the Four Nations. You gotta ensure that there's a rotation of this tournament happening, be it another Four Nations or World Cup of Hockey, that is consistent in, say, alternating years as opposed to the
Mhm.
Olympic Games. Be it every 3 years or every 4 years or whatever. It can't be we're gonna do this tournament and it's, happening once this year and not again for another 9 years, not again for another 12 years.
Yeah,
That can't happen again.
no. Because then that's just laziness at that point. Because you're like, oh, I don't know what we did wrong. We thought it went well, but we never did it
Nope.
again.
Nope. Because y'all remember in 2016, the original plan was World Cup of Hockey was supposed to, yeah, happen on a rotation every 3 or 4 years. And there was too many complications, well, again, where they couldn't lock it in every 3 to 4 years. And now it's supposed to happen again in 2028. But again, year 2016 to 2028. The tournament is falling out of relevancy among hockey fans with that long of a wait.
That's absurd. Because, like, I remember that 2016 World Cup of Hockey was like my big drop back into hockey
Mm.
because of how fun that was, how exciting that was. I will never forget Team North America. I will never forget her. But like you have people like finding the sport that have no idea what that is and no idea like how fun and cool and exciting those types of things were, right? It was your first time seeing Austin Matthews play with NHL players before he started playing in the NHL.
Yep.
X. See
Like,
that
do
tournament,
that.
Marshall. That tournament, sorry to cut you off, Marshall. That did have like lots of seasoning. That tournament was dope.
Fire. Yes.
They need to bring that tournament back.
Yeah.
That was a fun tournament to watch. Or at least if you're
2028.
gonna top, like we all agreed, like this needs to have some kind of incentive, maybe like charity incentive or something to
Hmm.
get the players interested in, wanting to do this.
Yeah. Something. And I think the great example was you mentioned Marsha T North America, and that was really I know it was a preseason event, but you could tell that there was a level of the young guys want to beat the old guys. For them, that incentive
Mhm.
was there, and you could see that. Yeah, we wanted to go out and beat a Sweden, a Russia, a Canada. The young guys, you could tell were motivated to beat the established guys playing for their countries. And
Mhm.
when North America, when they beat Sweden in overtime, you could have sworn they won the Stanley Cup when McKinnon scored that goal on Hank.
Oh my gosh. It's just a great time, great memories. We need that level of joy back in this sport.
Yes. No, we absolutely do. We absolutely do. And going from that, getting to the Leafs now. So once again, like you mentioned last time, massive logjam in the Atlantic, and the Leafs, at the time of this recording, have lost two straight games. Been a little bump in the road for the Leafs in the past couple of games here. We'll start with you, Troy. What are your thoughts on the Leafs past couple of games here? As once again, they're not dogfighting the Atlantic with the Florida Panthers.
Well, like we mentioned last episode, it's one of those things where it's wide open because the top teams generally aren't at the top this year. It's going to be a back and forth with Florida for the rest of the season. I'm thinking because, like we've noticed over the last 3 or 4 years, if not more, basically your 1, 2, 3 seasons in the Atlantic have already been determined pretty much by Christmas. This year, it's anybody's guess. Um, the last couple of games, I didn't actually get to watch, but it sounds like they put in a couple of stinker efforts, which is a shame for a team that's built the way it is. But every team goes through, their rough patches where you're going to have some bumps in the road. Your guys aren't scoring. Maybe it's a steady freight to the penalty box, or maybe you're just not getting timely saves. But it's one of those learning curves, I guess. It's something you have to go through. As long as these losing streaks aren't lengthy, then I think it'll be an interesting battle all the way until April.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more with that. Jason, what have been your thoughts on the past couple of games here for the Leafs?
Injuries, more injuries, players back, a lot of juggling. I just feel like Berube is like trying to find something that sticks. Um, like the issue now going forward after these two losses, like they did put up like a good effort. I just felt, they just didn't deliver when they needed to deliver. The Washington game, they played well, but Washington's just on a rampage this year. They're actually overachieving. That was a hard game they played, but they just got outworked, and that's gonna happen. There's gonna be games where you're gonna get outworked, but it's all about how you come back from that adversity. And then they marched into Pittsburgh, and I wouldn't say Pittsburgh slaughtered them. Just again, Pittsburgh outworked them. So management has to make some decisions because there's certain bodies on this roster that don't fit. Like, so what I mean by that is Alex Nylander. I was happy to see him up there with his brother. Berube's trying to see if he fits, but I think the Leafs are gonna have to try and put him through waivers and hopes like he sneaks through. Fraser Minton, sorry, Minty Fresh. This guy, I like him. He's on the NHL level. He has good IQ. Scored a couple of goals, doing all the right things with the puck. He might stay, but the thing is with him, he's waiver exempt. And then you have Grabenkin. I love this guy, and we got to protect him. He's a power forward. He's been playing well, but you got to look at who's coming off of IR, right? So McCabe was on injured reserve. I think he took a puck like by the ear or something like that. That bumped him out a couple games, but he's supposed to be back Tuesday, and then so is Domi. And then you have Nick Robertson. Like everybody was happy on him, like high, like feeling like, yeah, let's go. This guy looks like he's ready based off of the preseason. I feel like he's got a substantial amount of ice time and he's had a lot of opportunity to showcase his talent. But I kind of feel like this situation is like the Timothy Liljegren situation all over again. And ideally, I do feel that the Leafs are going to move on from Robertson. Like, I don't know when, but I feel they're going to move on from him. Holmberg, he's playing well, and he'll probably stay up there because he's always going in the corner and trying to keep a play alive, and he's always out there hustling. But yeah, the Leafs have some decisions to make coming soon. Pacioretty just came off of IR. He looked really good. Pacioretty was a sneaky signing in the offseason. I'm glad we have him on our team. He's sneaky good. It's just gonna take him a few games to get back into speed, but these two games that the Leafs lost recently, I wouldn't worry too much. Goaltending is fine. Joseph Wall looks good. So does Stolarz. Um, the backhand is good too as well. Philip Myers stepped in McCabe's absence, and it feels like he belongs there, like earning a role like every night or whenever he can play. So, I'm not too worried. It's just a decision that has to be made for compliance and roster, right? Management. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried at all.
Oh, and hang on, we got a message here. So Troy, you mentioned Fraser Minton, and he's someone into this roster. been taking the most of the opportunities given by him from Craig Berube, and that is someone where, man, I saw a few I saw a few comments online saying where if Craig Berube puts Reeves back into the roster and Minton is out, they're gonna catapult him to Jupiter or something like that.
Yeah, like no, it's true though, because you got to really look at it. Like Minton is a he, and I like how the Leafs dealt with him. They didn't rush him up, right? They gave him his few games. They sent him back down. Like he got hurt in the preseason. I think he was concussed. It would have been nice to have him like the entire season, but I think he's gonna be the one out of the names I mentioned, Nylander, Robertson, and what was the other guy? I mentioned somebody else. I can't think right now, but Grabenkin, yeah. Minton is gonna stay over those three guys because he has a role and he fits. You know what I mean? He's easily replacing David Camp's offense. Easily. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm not too worried.
Has 4 points in 8 games. Yeah, 4 points, 8 games played, 2 goals, 2 assists. He's been very effective. Called up from the Toronto Marlies, but he's always been a guy who can find his way to the net. He's had multiple 50-point seasons in the dub with Kamloops. He had a strong year last season in Saskatoon, had 38 points in 36 games with the Blades. So he's always found a way to be a very effective offensive player.
And I like how Berube is using him. Like he'll get a couple turns with like a Matthews, like in between a line change, depending on the situation. Like he's gotten looks on the power play, and like his IQ is on another level, right? And then you gotta take into account who's there. You have guys like Marner there who's skilled. You have Matthews there. You have Tavares, who is the father figure of the Maple Leafs, right? And you have Morgan Riley as well, right? And not only does Minton replace Camp's offense, but Minton is a defensive centerman, right? And those guys are like rare, like the Patrice Bergeron type guy. You know what I mean? Like those guys are rare to have. So, with Minton, I only see him growing and excelling, and I'm just glad he's a Toronto Maple Leaf.
I think also too. We mentioned goaltending again, and again, having two solid goaltenders right now, if you're the Maple Leafs, you're in a good spot to be in with Joseph Wall and Anthony Stolars. And I do wonder how long Berube does keep the rotation going between these two, because both guys are great, and neither guy is, in a sense, pulling away from the other one. They're both very even. They're both getting the most. So it'll be interesting to see if Ruby does maintain that rotation, as well as seeing if one of these guys can pull away and show that, yes, they are the bona fide, solidified number one goaltender coming here in a couple of weeks here.
I don't know if he's gonna want to. It's a good point because you want to have that solid definition. But I think with the way we've seen Joe Wall get injured over the past couple seasons, like you don't want to push his limits too far where he's accidentally like re-aggravating something and then that kind of screws you for the rest of the season. So I think he'll ride this for as long as he can.
Yeah, no, we'll see. And so I think Troy is back now. So ask how and what they've done in this 2 game skid here.
Sorry, what about this 2 game skid?
Yeah, what have been your thoughts on the past 2 games, at least here? What have been your impressions, your thoughts?
I haven't seen much of those 2 games in the losing skid. But like I said earlier, it sounds like missed assignments, probably unnecessary parades to the penalty box. Um, it's something that I believe that they can get under control. Like I said, you don't want any lengthy losing streaks because you start to lose ground in terms of division lead. Because right now we're 2 points behind Florida and Boston's right behind us with 33. So you don't want to lose too much ground. You don't want to have lengthy losing streaks. I think the goaltending right now, from what I've seen over the season, I think it's pretty good. I think from what I've seen from Stillers, it really is his net to lose. But it is nice to see a 1 and a 1A tandem that Toronto hasn't seen in quite some time. So I mean, it's a blessing in disguise, and knock on wood that our goaltending is the one key thing that stays healthy for us amongst all these other injuries that are currently happening.
Yeah, no, it's a good place to be in, and it's a rare place to be in for the Leafs. Those guys both stepping up. It's a rare place to be for any team, really. And going from the Leafs to a team that's in far more disarray right now, the New York Rangers, a team that just traded their captain to Anaheim and Jacob Trouba. There's been rumors flying that Mika Zibanejad on the trade block, which he isn't because he has a no movement clause. And you're seeing people really on Chris Drury. And it's funny because the Rangers, I mean, yes, this has been a bit of a weird start, but they're still in the thick of things in a playoff race in the Eastern Conference. Igor Shesterkin gets paid. Just what have been your impressions on just the drama so far, gang, on the New York Rangers, a team that's in. You would think this team is in pure free fall when they're not, but at the same time, there's just so many weird things happening right now in that locker room around the organization right now. I'll start with you, Jason, on what's going on with the Rangers.
Oh boy, the New York Rangers. I think that there's a lot going on with the Rangers. There's a lot. Um, the first one is paying Shin what, $11.5 million. This guy doesn't even have a Stanley Cup, and you're gonna pay him $11.5 million. Like, there's no way you pay a goalie more than like a forward, like centerman or a winger that puts up 110 points. That's just crazy. The whole Jacob Trouba situation is another one. Like, yeah, he's their captain. Like, if there's something going on, they need to be able to try and figure it out as a team, right? Hockey is not just a one-man sport, it's a team sport. And I think management, in a way, in my opinion, failed Jacob Trouba because they brought him there to lead the Rangers. And while he was there, like, this guy's, did his thing on the back, and the Rangers seen success in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's winning a round or two rounds, making the playoffs for how many consecutive years in a row. Like, Trouba was a big acquisition for them, right? So like, if these guys are having issues in the locker room, they need to like be able to figure that out as grown men, right? Like, I just, they paid Lafreniere money too. Like, I just think the way management went about like dealing with this Trouba situation, yeah, you want to move him to where him and his family are comfortable. I get it, but you know, it's hard finding like a big, heavy like defenseman, who's a leader and has a voice in the locker room. You know what I mean? And can lead his troops into battle like when it matters and stuff. I just feel that they wanted to pay Shesterkin and they didn't want to pay Trouba, and I get it, but if you're trying to win as a team, you gotta. And this is my problem with sports. Like, I just, in general, I just feel that this salary cap thing is, yeah, you need a hard cap, but like, players, yeah, you have to get paid, but then you want to win too, right? And if you're taking up a certain amount of the salary cap, how do you expect the franchise or organization to be able to add other pieces to help you, reach the pinnacle or the top of the mountain? You know what I'm saying? So I just felt that the Rangers were in a lot of like financial issues with the contracts that they currently have, and they wanted to make a choice. And it was between Truba and Shesterkin, and they chose Shesterkin. And the funny thing is, I don't even think like Shesterkin is like top five as far as like goalie stats in the NHL this season. So that might be a big waste of money.
No, I still think he was one of the better goaltenders in the league. I mean, he was gonna get his money. He's still the backbone for the Rangers. So it didn't shock me he got his money still in that sense. Marsha, what have been your thoughts on the bold and the blue shirts?
Shame, 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 shame. Come on, y'all. I don't know. Like, the biggest thing that sticks out to me about the Chuba situation is just everything about it was gross and slimy and like, why did we have to approach this way? But then you also think like what was really happening behind the scenes that made them make such a bold move. And honestly, I really feel like it had nothing to do with the team. This was probably just a management player beef, and he wasn't leading the team that they wanted him the way that they wanted him to lead it. Because, like, what is that other thing? It's not like he wanted to leave. He was happy. He was established. He just had a kid. He takes his family like very seriously into consideration of what that means for where he plays, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And like people are talking about connections that could be made in the Anaheim area, this, that, the third, but that's not the point. It's when we try to skirt collective agreements and things like this just to get the upper hand and really like lose the trust of a player, that hurts. And I feel like that's a thing that a team should never ever strive to do, because now you have someone going to play for you that not necessarily that they didn't want to be there, they had their reasons for not wanting to go there, but you've acquired them in such a weird, nasty way that like of course there's going to be resentment. And how are they going to want to be their best to see themselves succeed with the people around them, you know? And then it leaves New York in the question of, okay, who's going to be your next captain? Because if you say Kreider, if you say Zibanejad, then everyone's going to be like, well, why the hell didn't you do that in the first place? Because I know so many people that were calling for that for so long. It's like, what went wrong? Why do we have to bring in another dude to do this work only for you to trade him away when he didn't want to be traded away? So I think the Rangers are in shambles and they're creating problems that didn't exist because they're jumping the gun in so many different ways. They just needed to like slow down 5 steps and like take a couple deep breaths, but they kind of just blew up. And I'm not sure why.
Do you guys think this trade hurts them?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't from Anaheim, so I'm gonna have to really look at it and see. But again, Jacob Trouba, I think Trouba is a good defenseman. I think he's gonna help a young Anaheim team that's gonna, they're trying to get out of the rebuild. They're trying to figure things out. So I think him and Radko Gudas, that's gonna be a painful deep. Him and Radko Gudas, it's gonna be scary to play against those two in Anaheim back end. And you still have Trevor Zegras. Hope I know he's hurt right now. Hopefully he gets back soon enough. But I think I'm not really sure what I'm not sure it hurts the Rangers too much. It's just a confusing situation in my mind. I'm not sure where they go from here right now, and it's funny because, like I said off the top, this is still a team that's in a playoff spot, still gonna probably win a playoff round come the springtime, but I don't know what their direction is after this season, really.
Well, sorry,
question
go ahead.
that's a question James Dolan is probably going to have to answer if the Rangers bottom out. I feel like this probably fell apart because of him, seeing as how most things in New York, whether it's the Knicks or the Rangers, if it starts to go ugly, it's more than likely his fault because he is the owner and he's got final say over shit, right? So, Trouba did say that like he wished this was handled privately and not leaked the way it did. And like Marsha said, he's always going to pick family over anything else, which is the right thing to do. I do agree with Avery when he said, him and Gudas are going to be, sending people to the IR, probably on a fairly regular basis. But yeah, where do the Rangers go from here is anybody's guess. Does this make the Rangers better without Trouba? Probably not. Because you are losing that physicality and you are losing that experience. I wouldn't even think about giving Kreider to C because he might be the next guy packing his bags and told you're going somewhere else.
This is the thing. I heard like rumors with Kreider, and just going back to Gudis and Truba. That's like you remember Mighty Ducks 2, Fulton Reed and Dean Porter, the Bash brothers. Yeah, that's true. that, that's Truba. That's Truba and Gudis, bro. The Bash brothers, bro.
That's
2.0.
jokes. That's jokes.
But yeah, no, New York. Honestly, I think they got worse. Like, how do you replace Truba on the back end? Like, you could score 90 goals. The Leafs had this problem. They could score at will, but when it came down to playing defensive hockey, they couldn't. No matter how many goals they scored, there was times they didn't score any goals or they got outscored. So ideally, when you lose a piece like that on the back end, like Truba, you're gonna have success, but you might have success offensively, but losing a defensive piece like that, yeah, that's gonna hurt you in the long run. And I kind of like what Troy said regarding dude from New York. Like it is the ownership's fault. That number one, that should have never leaked to the media the way it did. That should have been done behind closed door. Okay, Truba, you don't want to be here no more, or we don't want to keep you. We're gonna work a trade for you, but what we'll do is we'll keep it off the air. Once the trade has been made and you feel comfortable, we'll announce the trade on your time. Like just out of the respect for the man, right? Because like, who's gonna sacrifice their family, bro? You're getting paid to play a sport. Nothing lasts forever. There's no guarantees in the sport itself. So obviously you're gonna think of your family. You know what I'm saying? So ideally, like I wish that guy the best in Anaheim. He's coming around the young core, like Avery said, but yeah, it's just shitty how management dealt with that situation.
Especially when you find out that they threatened to put him on waivers first. It's like, if you don't give us your no trade list, we're gonna put you on waivers. Like, that's a bitch move.
Oh,
Like
for sure.
Yeah,
that's
that was not
how you
right.
treat your players, not even your captain. Like, what are you doing? That
Yeah.
like especially when you hear that come out, especially when you hear it from the player himself, that's how they tried to do him dirty to get him out of New York. Does that make you want to pick that as a destination to go as a free agent? And for other players who have no trades and no movements, let's say if you're one of those players who are trying to get on a playoff bound team, is that a place where you decide, okay, is this where I want to go, knowing this is how they treated Truba? You're probably looking at that and scratching that off your list right now.
Facts.
Yeah, that's a great point you put out there, Troy, because yeah, when that comes out, that is going to be for anybody coming in, a free agent, someone who's traded there, it's going to make them wonder, do I want to sign an extension here? Or do I want to be here at all in the first place? So that's a really good point, Troy.
Yeah, and if you look at Dolan's track record with the Knicks as well, too, it's not great. Players who are considering going to the Rangers, they just need to ask Truba, or, if they've got the connects, ask some former Knicks players about their time in New York. Sometimes they're the best of times, sometimes they were the worst of times. And even, what was it? What is that, the podcast called 7 p.m. in Brooklyn or something?
Yeah.
Anthony's podcast. Even he was saying that, like, Dolan likes to pull a lot of fuck shit to try and get his way. Like the interview last week, where Melo's like, he walked in with an armload of folders that had nothing in them, hoping that nobody would call his bluff. Like, that's the kind of shitty hardball this guy plays. Like, no, man, you got to do this with some kind of integrity. This is why the fans at MSG are always saying sell the team, because he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, no, he is the epitome of a meddling owner that gets involved in stuff with his management core, whatever. And of course, we don't know for sure if Dolan was involved, but the track record of James Dolan, the track record can lead people to think that yeah, he was involved, because there is a history of Dolan meddling with his franchises. So that's a tough situation all around if you're a Ranger, and if you're Jacob Trouba. And we're gonna start wrapping things up here on the third intermission with a couple of stories in the PWHL. So one I liked is really cool is that the PWHL is now in NHL 25. And we've seen EA Sports before bring in women's leagues, women's teams in soccer with EAFC. We know in NBA 2K, the WNBA is in that. So now we get the PWHL in NHL 25 in various game modes. You can play the as a PW in Play Now, online versus, shootout mode, season mode. The uniforms are in World of Shell. The players and logos and jerseys are in Hockey Ultimate Team. So I love the fact that EA does get a lot of EA gets a lot of heat for the NHL series, and I get it, understand that. But I do like the fact that they have for a very long time been committed on putting women's players in the game. And now the P-Dub in its whole is now in the game. I think that's amazing. I'll start with you, Marsha. What are your thoughts on the P-Dub going into NHL 25?
It's so exciting. And I think the biggest thing I'm excited for is the fact that the depictions of the players are like 9 out of 10, like most accurate things that I've ever seen,
Yep.
like down to the eyebrows of some of these people. So I'm like, you really stepped your game up, put your back into it. I salute the effort. And it's really exciting because like you've got the full force, you've got their ratings, you've got the full team like jerseys with logos, like it's a real thing.
No, I am very impressed that, yeah, you're right, Marshall. They haven't cut corners in terms of how the players are being portrayed in terms of, yeah, the imaging, the likeness. They've actually taken the time to make sure it's done right and that every PWHL player in the game and the jerseys are all correct and accurate. I like that. I love that. Troy, what are your thoughts on the PW being in NHL 25?
I think it's a good look for the PWHL, its players, and everybody involved. It's nice to see them, be part of the game. It'll expand some audiences, I hope. I'm curious to know though if it would do well as its own standalone game because it is its own standalone league and it should deserve its own standalone game. Um, I mean, maybe not as expensive as the 2K series is, especially when you're paying like $90+ a year for essentially a roster update.
Which is wild.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's a great look for the league. I love that video gamers who already have access to NHL 25, they don't have to necessarily go out and buy a different version of the disc or download another digital copy. They could just update the roster or whatever the case is on whatever platform they're using, and will automatically have access to it. Um, they're not charging you money for this, are they? Like for
No.
in-game thing to access this?
It's built in the game, bro. It's
Okay,
built
then
in.
that's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Yeah. They added. So usually when they do roster updates, it's referred to as a patch. So they patched in the P-Dub in NHL 25. I
Exactly.
think I'm not sure
Okay.
if it was released like when NHL 25 came out. I don't know if the P-Dub was there, but it sounds like what Avery was explaining that they patched it in. So they went on the servers, they uploaded all the information of the players and the teams, and they put it in the game to make it like accessible for everybody that bought a copy.
Okay.
Mhm.
Look, I haven't played 2K in so long. I think the last one I played was whatever year McDavid was on the cover. I think that's the last one I have. I haven't
Okay.
really touched my PlayStation at all, so I don't know. I don't know what these newer updates and things look like. But yeah, I do like the fact that they're in the game. It makes it accessible to people who already have the disc or the digital copy. I would love to see it grow to where it's its own standalone game, so that way it can generate more revenue for them without having to rely on the NHL.
Mhm. And you mentioned the standalone thing. It's interesting because hockey in the marketplace. So I wonder what it would take to get that in terms of building up the league because modern gaming in terms of sports gaming, it's a little diatribe. I could go on way too long about that, but hopefully one day, I mean, right now, I don't know how it would sell, but because there's hockey games against the NBA, baseball, anything else. Sports games are in a weird place right now, but one day they could build up to get a standalone game. I think that would be cool if the marketplace would allow that, just in terms of how weird it can be for sports games. But yeah, no, I'm definitely a big fan of what they've done, and they're trying to make the league look and feel different in the game, which is a major thing because the P-Dub is something entirely different in itself. Make it look and feel different. So I applaud that, and I applaud that. And Walter Cup is in the game as well too. So I think that's great to see. And yeah, as the PWHL gets bigger and bigger, when we get more players, more teams involved, I want to see it have a bigger place inside EA Sports and inside the NHL series going forward.
They would be silly not to think the way you're thinking right now, because that they'd be able to market the league and grow the league and build money for the league as well, right? So they'd be silly not to try once the league gets bigger, like you said, Avery, not put out they have to try and put out a standalone game so that they can build revenue for the league as well. You know what I'm saying? So like that would be the best decision. While you guys were talking, I was looking through some of the ratings. I'll go through them quick for the top 10 players. So who do you guys think is number one overall? I'll start with you, Avery. Who do you think is the number one women's overall player in the game?
Overall, number one, I'm gonna say, ooh,
Let us
either.
guess before you tell us the answer.
Say that again?
Let us guess before you tell us the answer.
I'm not telling you the answer. I was going to just go around and ask everybody who they thought was the number one overall rated person.
Okay, I'm gonna say it's either. Man, this is. I know this is riveting. This is
And no
riveting.
cheating. You guys don't look on
Oh
your
no, I'm not. I'm not
telephone.
cheating. I'm not cheating. I'm gonna
No
say.
cheating.
I'm gonna say. Either Sarah Nurse or Alex Carpenter.
Okay. Troy,
Marie-Philippe Poulin.
Marsha.
I was gonna say either Nurse or Poulin.
So the number one overall player coming in at an overall 93 rating is Marie-Philippe Poulin.
Woo.
Okay.
Sarah Nurse is seventh on the list at a 91 overall.
Who's number two?
The second over, so I'll go through the top 10. So Poulin is number one. Hillary Knight from Boston is number two, 92 overall. Number three is Brianne Jenner from Ottawa. Number four, I would say the best like rated defender in the game, the women's game right now are Renata Fast from Toronto. Spooner is number 5 out of 91 overall. So she cracked the top 5. Schofield from Minnesota came in at number 6, 91 overall. Sarah Nurse, 7, 91 overall. Erin Ambrose from Montreal, 91 overall. Another good defender there. Number 9 is Taylor Heese, Minnesota. And number 10, And number 10, Kyla Barnes, Montreal.
Okay.
So there's your top 10.
Who's the lowest rated player?
I only see the top 10. I can't see the lowest rated player. I didn't really crack it like that. I was just intrigued, so I started to look while you guys were talking, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I could find that out for you. When I find that out, I'll just show you on the side.
But yeah, that's a very, very solid top 10 from EA for the PDAP rosters.
Do you guys agree with the top 10 that they have here? Or what changes would you make to it based off of the eyeball test?
From what I've seen and from what I've heard, and from what you're saying is the top 10, I'm fine with it. I don't think I would really make any changes because they're all very deserving. I mean, it is just video game things, so it doesn't really hold weight in real life, I guess, per se, depending on who you ask. But I like the top 10. I'm not surprised that there's no goalies in the top 10, but maybe I should be, considering that a lot of the games last year were all like almost all of them were 1-goal games. So I mean, kudos to the goalies. But I guess in terms of the list is probably just for like the forwards and defensemen, right? So Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with this top 10 list. I'm good with it.
What about you, Marsh?
I'm just interested to see what the tiebreak is. Because I agree, like the list is pretty good. A lot of people with similar ratings. So how did we determine who went above another person?
So kind of like 2K, I think like analytics are taken into account
Mm,
and things of that nature, right? And then in order to capture their pictures, they have to like take them around and make them wear a bodysuit so that their
yeah,
faces can get scanned and all this stuff. So it's interesting because I know like for the football, they base it off a weekly performance and then they just patch the upgrade into the game. So if a guy with a high rating does very well, you'll see that he gets a boost in certain categories based off of his performance, right? So I kind of think, or I want to believe that they're doing the same type of thing with the women. But remember, it's the first year they rolled it out. So
hmm,
expect changes down the line, at least before the end of the season. Yeah, that was a long pause though. Avery, you out there?
I saw the mute and the unmute.
I thought I lost audio for a second. I was like, what's
Yeah,
going
like
on here? Is
yo,
my
the silence
internet
was
going?
killing me. The silence was killing me. Is Avery all right?
Okay, so in the meantime, while we're waiting for Avery to reconnect, did anybody watch any of the PWHL games on Amazon Prime this week?
No, I did not, but I seen that goal where the girl lift up her leg, bro, and did that deke, and I think that's the goal of the year so far, bro, after breakaway. Because Jean Tavares scored a similar type goal.
Check, check.
Oh, you're back.
There he
Yeah,
is.
I wasn't. I wasn't on mute. The mic was acting up for some reason. No, I wasn't on mute.
You know what, Avery? Like at the pause there, it was yeah, like it was just weird there, but like I noticed throughout the show, like your chipping, your mic was chipping too. I don't know if anyone else noticed that, but there were certain spots too.
That's weird.
No, no, I definitely thought that was my internet, but no, I heard it on my end
Oh,
too.
that's weird. No, I was gonna say, talk about players. I know, I don't have a PS5 or Xbox or new Xbox, but in terms of ratings, I wanted to say the players who I think could get a ratings boost. I think one is Sarah Fillier in New York. She's come into the league and comes in as a rookie, 6 points in her first 3 games in the P Dub. I definitely think she's someone who's going to get a boost. She came in hyped, former captain of Princeton, and she's someone who is going to be a major boost for New York as this season goes on. So I think Sarah Fillier is someone's going to get a definite look in terms of jumping up. And another new player to the P Dub is someone who already made a name for herself in national stage is Danielle Serdachny in Ottawa. And that's a player who I think is, again, we knew she was great. We already saw what she could do on an international stage, what she did in college. And that's someone who I definitely think is going to get a boost as well in her ratings as she plays for the Ottawa Charge.
Mm, this is exciting stuff. It's
Yeah,
another dimension, another place to talk about this game.
yeah, you gotta love it though. Like, did we ever like we're fortunate because like how long we wanted like women's hockey on this like level and this scale. We wanted this for a long time. And there was other leagues before, but those other leagues didn't really have the push that the P-Dub has and is generating the interest and the volume of people that the P-Dub is attracting right now. So yeah, we're definitely in a good place, man. And I'm here for it.
But there was a lot. It was a lot. It was a very multi. It was a very P Dub. I like what it is. It's not perfect. I mean, the fact. I mean, I think we said before on the show the fact that they literally erased all those teams that were in the PHF that had history. I think the greatest example, the Minnesota Whitecaps, which existed for 20 years, way before the PW or PHF were ever a thing. The fact that they got wiped out, I think that's a thing that, again, made many people in hockey raise their eyebrows because the PW wanted to build things back in their own image. But there certainly are good things, though. There are other good things in terms of what they have done. But yeah, we're gonna see how things go going forward with them.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like anything in life, you're gonna have bad and good, right? And you said it the best, bro. It's not perfect, but I think they're on the trajectory towards the right direction of trying to grow the game on a bigger scale. And I think that's important for the women in the world who want to play hockey and be around hockey. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. And for wrap things up here, I do want to mention one more Pete Up story. One that I think people were a little bit surprised by is that when it comes to broadcasting the games outside of Canada, you can watch you're able to watch your games on YouTube, and that was a big thing that you could watch on both sides of the border. Now it's just only markets outside of Canada can still watch games on online platforms in terms of YouTube and Twitch. So now the PETA mid-season is switching from YouTube to Twitch, and it's getting a lot of backlash because I don't know if I agree with this league mid-season switching to a platform. I mean, yes, Twitch has an audience when it comes to gaming and certain things, but when it comes to getting your product out to the most eyes, I'm not sure if leaving YouTube is the best option for the PETA in my mind, gang.
Absolutely not. How would you take something that's so open, so accessible, and move back to something that was so restrictive and so harmful in Twitch? Like you, the kind of people that you would see in stream comments and like
Yup.
just trying to push people down and like create these weird narratives where it's like with YouTube, it's you click a link and you watch the game. You don't have to sign up for an account. You don't have to do this, that, the third. Like, there's so many things. Is like, why would you do that?
It's very strange. Jason, what are your thoughts on the
Yeah, Avery, I think your mic chipped again. But my thoughts on that situation is it was dumb because, at least YouTube it has like how can I say this? Like it has a defense mechanism, right? You're not gonna go on there and no weirdos are gonna like pop in the chat. Like it's regulated a different way than Twitch is. Twitch is wild. You have to be careful like when you if you have kids or you have young like family members and they're on your device and they say they want to go on Twitch, you have to be careful and really pay attention to what they're watching because certain things pop up based off of the algorithm and stuff like that, and some weird stuff slides into the algorithm too. I don't think that was a good idea at all. Like I think that was really stupid. um and YouTube is like way easier to use and more accessible. Like you don't have like Twitch on certain devices, right? But you have YouTube built into the TVs nowadays, and you know what I mean? So like I just think it's stupid. I don't know why they did that. Probably because they wanted to try and build revenue. This is the only thing I can think. Because with Twitch, like YouTube, you get paid based off of views and you could get the partnership and all this stuff. But I don't know. YouTube was just more user friendly and more safer for like the kids to use too, right? So I think it was a dumb decision, man.
I think it's entirely possible they went the Twitch route because of the inclusion in NHL 25. I guess they figure if they put themselves in the video game, they might reach a wider audience on Twitch. I do agree that it was not a very well thought out plan to move to Twitch. Just because, just like Jason said, a lot of things can go wrong during a Twitch stream. There was nothing wrong with the presentation on Amazon, CBC, TSM, whatever channels you or mediums you could watch the games on. I happened to catch I think it was Toronto Ottawa. That game was on Amazon last week, and I thought that was very well done. So I mean, like, I don't fully get the platform changing, but I think the inclusion into the video game was probably why they went that route. But I agree with Jason. I mean, like, you want to start off like very user friendly. You don't really want to advance too much too quickly because then you start losing track and losing people and the different things, right? So I mean, like, you don't want to end up it being a case where you're paying for more subscriptions up upon subscriptions just to watch one thing, right? So they gotta look at that a little better and I guess make adjustments where necessary.
And you have made great points. The fact that issues with harassment, with sexism, with the wrong kind of people tapping into streams and commenting. So that is a thing in which, I mean, they shouldn't have switched at all. That would not have been my choice. I can get what Troy's saying when it comes to integration for gaming and HL25. That, yeah, I understand that, but Twitch has been a place where we had so many controversies when it comes to streams and when it comes to numbers. My colleague at the Hockey News, Ian Kennedy, pointed out in his article that Twitch averages 36.7 monthly viewers. It's a lot of people, but YouTube has 2.5 billion monthly viewers and users. 2.5 billion versus 36.7 million monthly users. That is 68 times more users than Twitch.
Yeah, which is what we all understand it was for the video game, but they should still keep the YouTube. You know what I mean? And just whatever they make off Twitch, just throw it into the league. You know what I'm saying? But the YouTube is their bread and butter. I thought anyways. You know what I mean? But I think, yeah, we're all on the right track here. It's because the game, you know what I mean? And the whole partnership with the P5 and so on and so forth. But there is a huge gap as far as the users and subscribers on YouTube compared to Twitch. Not people use Twitch, but they were using Twitch for a long time. It's hard to get new users on Twitch, and maybe that also, might be a direction they're headed into as well. Like you said, Avery, they're trying to get more users outside of what they already have, or more followers outside of what they already have. So that could be another idea, but I just don't agree with it altogether, bro. Twitch, I've never really been a fan of. I don't think it's safe as far as the weirdos that be up in that tool there. Like, you have some cool guys that stream on Twitch, I'm not gonna lie, but it's just not safe. It's for more adults and not kids. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, the demographic there, it's very different, and Twitch is also heavily male centric, but it's a weird look, I thought, in that. But you know what? We agree. We all agree. Stay on YouTube. You don't need Twitch. But anyways, we do all agree upon also that this show has come to a close. Thank you all for tapping in to Third Intermission. We'll talk to y'all again next week. Thank you for letting us grace the space in between your head tops. And Jason, the people, what should they be doing?
Drink water.
There you go. All right, we out.